Hey there, welcome, Happy New Year. I'm here with the Zero Gravity Judge, which when we last saw him, it was New Year's Eve, and we had finished the mobile suit itself and had gotten started on this very large backpack unit. And then I had to stop because it was time to go celebrate New Year's Eve with my family. And so today we're back. I hope you had a good New Year's celebration yourself. Good weekend. It is Monday morning. Things are almost back to normal for me as far as schedule. And so since we normally have a stream on Monday mornings at this time, as I spin this thing around, thought we'd try to get back to that normal schedule today. So without any further delays, let's get started on building here. And I'm going to set the mobile suit itself off to the side just so that it's, well, maybe it can stay sort of in frame over here. But the thing we're focusing on is this backpack unit as we continue to build that out. And I'm trying to keep this in frame, but also leave myself space over here to put pieces and such. So this is probably a good setup here, at least for now. I have some other things to talk about as we go along as well. Some updates regarding the YouTube channel and some plans for that for this year. So we'll get into that as we build. But I think, probably, given the number of pages of instructions that are left, that there's a good chance that we can finish up today with the rest of the backpack unit and the weapons, which are fairly minimal as far as like number of parts. They look really cool. But I don't think that they're overly complex as far as the build goes. Am I building? Oh, I'm building 2 of these. See, I should have been paying more attention. And grabbed the other copy of this other part that I've already trimmed, but that's fine. We will get back to that. Yeah, so first channel update, at least for the YouTube channel. So these streams, which go to YouTube and Twitch, will continue and hopefully be on a more regular schedule. The original plan was to do these on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, my time. And then I got away from that a bit, especially during the holiday season, just because things were busy here for me. And it was hard to find time to get those streams done. So now that things are getting back to normal a bit with my family's schedule, I think that the regular streaming times will once again get back to those scheduled times. So that's good. And then a few people have been asking about the Blender Gunpla series that I started on YouTube about a month or so ago at this point. That will be coming back starting next week. So this week is still sort of a holiday week. My son isn't back in school yet until later on this week. And so once he's back in school and doing his normal activities and such, that kind of frees up my schedule a little bit more, or makes it more predictable at least. So yeah, I will be recording the next episode of Blender Gunpla and getting that out on the YouTube channel, probably completing it entirely next week. At least that's the plan. I already have an idea for like the next several episodes actually of that. So yeah, expect those to be coming back soon. I think that's about it for channel updates. As far as these live streams go, I've actually enjoyed this Zero Gravity Judge kit so much that I believe when we're done building it, which like I said, hopefully will be after today's stream, I want to paint this thing, and I'm not gonna do, I don't think I'm gonna do a lot of additional modifications or detailing on it because it's already really good by itself. I might fix or adjust a couple of things on it, but otherwise I think it's going to be pretty much just a straight paint job, and I have an idea already now forming in my mind for how I want to do that paint work. So I think there's a good chance that I will just continue these live streams, continue working on this kit, and do some paint work and some other stuff related to that, and then we'll continue that in these live stream sessions. If you want to see that or don't want to see that, let me know in the chat or in the comments, and I'll take that feedback into consideration for sure. But that's where I'm leaning, at least for now, is to continue on these live streams working on this kit, disassembling it, then painting it up, and yeah, seeing if we can make it look really awesome. It's such a good design. I want to give it good treatment to make it, I feel like it deserves to have a nice, really good painted finish. So that is the plan, at least for now. Is this the H runner? It is not. Let's try again. Maybe this is the H runner. No. That was a second copy of the G runner. This one is F. I've obviously gone the wrong direction there, looking through my runner stack. This is what I'm after. with my schedule having gotten back almost to normal this morning, I was able to sort of get back in my normal morning routine. So I got up and I rode my bike out on there's like a wetlands near my house with dirt trails. Although here in Florida, dirt is really just sand, right? So went for a bike ride, ended up covered, my arms and legs covered in sand. Somehow there's sand in my hair, even though I was wearing a helmet. Great times. Yeah, makes me feel like I'm ready for the day. This fits in here, huh? Interesting. These pieces are kind of small. I'll get you a closer view. There we go. Yeah, so this is it's kind of a piston sort of detail in here. Hopefully you can see that. It obviously doesn't move or anything, but it's a nice little detail in what I assume is meant to be kind of the support structure for something that's gonna attach onto the backpack here. Let's move that out of the way a bit. Again, I'm supposed to be making 2 of these, and I've only been cutting single copies of these parts. So I'll go back and grab some of the ones we're missing in just a second so that we can make 2 copies of this. Yeah, so another thing I've been thinking about with regards to the new year is that I feel like I didn't actually finish, well, it's not I feel like, it's true that, objectively true, that I did not actually finish very many projects last year. And I think that, you know, that's because I just got distracted and tried to start too many things without finishing them. Also because I was building out this studio space that I have now available for myself to work in, which is great, but that took a bunch of time that I normally would have spent actually building gunpla kits. So one of the things that I want to do this year is, you know, actually finish projects rather than just starting a bunch of things. And so that's something I'm going to work on. And that's part of the thought process behind, you know, with this judge actually, rather than just snap building it and setting it on a display shelf somewhere and saying, I'll get to painting that at some point, which is what I've done with a lot of kits lately. This one, since I like it so much, I figured let's just paint it now. So that's part of the reason for sort of thinking ahead and thinking, let's just continue, you know, working on this. All right, our S runner is which one? The gold-plated one? I'm pretty sure it's this gold-plated one. Yes, it is. 9 and 10. Yeah, so with that in mind, continuing on with painting this build, probably later today, and not on camera, but when I get some time later today, my plan is to look through my paint stash, and I have a few ideas as far as color schemes and such. I'm not sure that I have paints in my stock of paints to actually pull off what I have in mind, So I'm gonna look through and see to make sure that I have everything that I need, or that I don't need to order anything new before we were to get started on that. So I'm gonna test out some paints, get some spoons and spray some test sprays onto some spoons, as is the normal tradition, right? And see what things look like. I can't decide. There's actually a slight difference between these two parts that I just cut out, and I didn't really keep track of which one was which number designation, so I'm just making sure that I'm getting the correct fit here, and it looks like I am. Yep, that looks good. All right, so there we go. Just didn't quite snap on all the way. That's better. Let's see if this, yeah, this one had the same problem. Okay. One thing I've noticed with this kit is the fit is very good. It's a bit tight, actually, some of the parts. So after I paint these parts especially, I'm a little bit, not concerned, but I'm just curious to see if the tolerances are going to be such that I'm going to have to sand or shave back some of the painted surfaces on the pegs and such, to make everything fit well. And I actually am, when I paint this, I'm going to make sure, or I'm going to try to have in mind to not put too much paint on areas where the parts connect, just to save myself the hassle of having to do that in the future. You know, that being, you know, a lot of trimming and such after the fact. All right, so we're doing 2 of these as well, whatever this little segment is here. I assume that all these little sub-assemblies will come together to make some crazy articulated support structure, it looks like, for the remainder of the backpack. I'm looking for 52, which must be up here near the top somewhere. Yeah. Oh, I do have a another slight modification to my streaming setup here that I just finished yesterday evening, actually. So I think I mentioned in a past stream, in fact I know I mentioned in a past stream, that I had taken back an old phone of mine that my son had been using before he got a new one for Christmas. And I was going to use that as a second or third, I guess, camera here at my setup to give us a different camera angle. So last night I finished designing and printing a 3D printed mount for that thing. So it's, as I drop apart, but I caught it before it fell on the floor. That mount is over here to my right. And the camera's there on it. I think the camera's turned on. The phone is turned on. Let's see. So yeah, I can switch to that, and I have that angle over here now. Which is kind of cool, I guess. It's an older phone, so the quality of the camera is certainly not as good as what I've got with my main camera, but I can do things like that and show them to the camera. I can also pick that camera up off of its mount and use that as a handheld option to show, you know, close-ups of things if I need to or whatever. That's the plan going forward. We'll see how much I end up using it. But it was a fun exercise designing the little 3D printed mount that it sits in. I had to do like 2 iterations of it to get the angle just right so that it's pointing down at the desk at the angle that I wanted. Alright, so this is really not wanting to go on straight. I assume that once I get both halves of this sandwiched together, it'll be fine. Right. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so for the paint work on this kit, what I'm thinking right now as a concept is deviating a bit from my normal style, which is typically if you've seen some of the things I've posted online, I typically paint with a lot of extra panel scribed detail and color separation on the armor bits. Usually I go for like a 2-tone, like the Dynamis has 2 tones of green that I painted up, and you know the Curios has 2 tones of orange in addition to the multiple tones of whites as well on those. But it's all a very flat, super flat coated, super clean kind of look. With this one, because of the inner frame being metallic, and because bits of it are exposed, like right here, for example, on the elbows, or even like the undersides of the feet, right? This is a nice, shiny, good metal finish that I don't want to mess with. And I'm, in fact, not sure how I would prime and paint the metal bits anyway. The plan is to work with these inner frame parts here that are gray, and through a series of paints and probably some dry brushing to produce a metallic finish that's similar, but probably a slightly different tone compared to the metal inner frame that came with the kit. So that I have a couple of different multiple shades of some aluminum looking and darker gray metallics as you know, for this inner frame here. So that's the plan there. And then probably on the outer armor, I think I'm gonna make it extremely glossy, which is very unusual for me. Probably like a white pearlescent kind of look. So again, going with kind of the white knight look with some lighter blue, I think, and gold trim type accents on it. So that's currently my thought process. And again, I'm gonna have to play with what paints I have and see if I need to order any others and get those things sprayed onto some sample spoons or paint chips or something before I see that and decide that that's gonna be the final choice as far as colors go. But for now, that's my prediction. We'll see how that plays out and whether it turns out to be what I end up going with. It's the wrong side. All right, so this bit goes up here. Fine. This bit goes down here. That's a fairly tight fit. And then this goes inside. Oh, I see. Not inside, out the back over here. Cool. And then this part goes here. And I think with that we can sandwich this together. All right, let's make a second one of those. What else? This one? 21? Is that the one we need? Yes. Another project that I really need to think about getting back to in this new year is the Master Grade Virtue, which, yeah, you can probably see it. It's back there behind me on the shelf right under the Gunpla Gallery logo there. I got that display base for it so that it's in its armor purge configuration, but it's still just snap built, and my completed painted Dynamis and Kyrios are in my display case inside the house, eagerly awaiting that one to be sitting next to them, but it needs to have details scribed to match the styling that I did on those other two kits. The plan was to make them all look like they kind of use some common parts and probably came from the same factory. So I need to go back and revisit some of the design choices I made when I was building those and copy those concepts and styles into some detailing on the Virtue and then get it all painted up. So that will probably be the big project that I work on after this one's done. So the plan is finish this Judge, complete it, paint it, get it looking display ready, and then move on to the Virtue, I think. And that will probably take me through like the first couple months at least of this year, right? Depending on how quickly I can get those things done. All right, these S19, these little round peg bits here are very small, and I'm slightly concerned about losing them. I need 4 of them. There's 8 total here on the runner, but it looks like we only need 4 right now. So let's be super careful to not lose these. think with these little detail parts here, that the sides of them here, where the nubs are that I'm trimming, I don't think that those end up being visible, which is great because with these plated parts, it's going to leave a little bit of an unsightly mark behind on the edge here where I trim these. But I don't think that they're going to have to be touched up at all, because I think that that area is not visible once this peg gets inserted into the spot where it goes. And actually, having said that, I should also look to make sure that it's going to be able to be pushed out from the back. Otherwise, I should not put them in. That might be hard to figure out actually now, because it goes... Let me get a toothpick so we can see here. Right, so these go in here. Yeah, and it does seem like that is actually, there's solid plastic on the back side of this. I should have checked it before we assembled these two parts, but it looks like that doesn't push all the way through. And so now that I've cut these out and said that we're being careful not to lose them, I'm gonna put them off to the side and probably lose them. No, I'll put them up here with the other transparent bits that we've saved that we're not putting in place just yet. They'll probably be fine there, I hope. All right, 5, 6, 7, and 8 also are off of this gold runner, and those look like they'll be okay to put in place. Does it matter which one? It does, but it'll be obvious how they fit. So I don't need to keep track of which one is which as we cut them here. It'll be fine. In like 2 minutes, when I realize it's not fine, you can remind me that I said that. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. All right, I'm gonna be slightly distracted for just a second because my phone has a score notification on it that I need to click on. All right, nothing important has happened yet. So I'm not watching because here in the United States, we don't get all of the English Championship soccer matches, football matches. Let's call it by its correct term, right? We don't get them all. All of the championship matches aren't shown here by any streaming service. Only some of them, and the one I care about today is not being shown. So I'm watching the score updates on my phone instead. Yeah, see, I was right. These only fit one specific way. So I did not need to be worried about mixing them up. Those might be tricky to disassemble later. I think it'll be fine. They're snapping in kind of tight though. Alright, we need 21 and 22 off of this runner. Finally, in the building that we've done so far today, we're actually using both copies of basically all of the duplicated runners. Up until now, I keep talking about why do we get 2 copies of some of these runners, because we're only ever using one of them. See, I almost lost that part, but I found it, don't worry. Then I almost lost it again. I don't know what it is with those. This particular plastic is wanting to stick to my fingers in a strange way. This kit does have like 3 or 4 different kinds of plastic. From runner to runner, it's not always the same. When you're working with it, you can definitely tell a difference in the feel of the types of plastic. Alright, so this goes in here. And once again, I'm going to be very careful about not pressing this in all the way, because I don't want, it's going to be real hard to, you know what, I could probably drill from the back and press them out, but I'm not going to press them in really tight because they're just details, and I don't think anything else is, well, unless something here goes over the top, but I don't think anything else is going to depend on them being pressed all the way in. I'm just going to gently press them in so that I'll be able to pull them out when I disassemble this in the future. Nice detail and color separation on these bits so far though, even though I'm not still totally sure what they are for and what they do. But I'm sure we'll figure that out momentarily.
I just want to go back.
So we need 1 and 2 now off of this eye runner. Dropping parts again. It's this eye runner. The plastic is somehow different and it sticks to my fingers. Not sure what's up with that. Alright, let's see if we can press these into place without causing trouble. At least, you know, with regards to not being able to pull them back out again in the future. I think we're okay. There's going to be another part. There must be another part that fits up above this. Oh, it's the curvy bit of that. Okay. Yeah, I think this will be fine. So I'm gonna, again, kind of gently press these into place. I'm not gonna press them all the way because I want to make sure that we can disassemble these later. That should be fine. That one snapped into place a little bit more than I wanted it to, and this piece, because I didn't press these in all the way, has fallen out. Those will actually be held in by this other part that I see coming up in the instructions next, so that's actually good. That'll hold those in even though they're not pressed all the way in place. Oh, let's not forget these. They go down here. Oh, I see. Nice. So these kind of cover and hold those in place as well. And again, I'm going to gently press these into place so that we can kind of see what it looks like, but also not lock these parts all the way in. I think my future self will thank me for this when it comes time to disassemble these things. All right. So I think the final bit of both of these assemblies that we're doing here are just these. So I've been seeing these parts throughout the entire build. Whenever I pick up this runner, they're an unusual shape, and so they kind of stand out. And I've been wondering what they're for. Now we get to find out. Alright, so these things go, I've got the wrong side, but that's fine, we'll flip this over. So they just go right over the top of this. They're the piping detail that curves around that and then fits down into here. That's nice. There's like so much interesting different levels of detail on the sides of these things. Again, I'm still not sure what exactly they are. They're definitely some kind of support structure. All right, so 2 of those. We'll put them there. While I grab the next large pieces that fit kind of down onto the bottom section of them. Yeah, and we're making 2 of these again. So let's go ahead and just grab all the parts we need. Alright, so I believe these were my H runners, correct? Yes. So what do we need? We need 13, which is this vent outer bit here. Actually, off the H runner, this is all we need. The other outer vent frame that we need comes off of the I runner. Is it this one right here? Yeah. All right, and then we need some of these green bits, I believe. 23, 24 are these two. I should probably be using the gray version of this runner for these bits that are like inside of the thrusters and such, but I'm just sticking with the transparent green since I started that way. And then the Q runner is this only red one in the kit, the one with the frame, the outer frame detail bits that go around all of these vents that are all red. This red accent scheme will almost certainly not survive my paint application. Like I think the red will all go away based on the current concept that I have in my head. It is a nice red color though. I don't know if I think that the cameras on stream aren't doing it quite the justice it deserves. Instead of being a real bright red, it's a bit darker. Yeah, in general it's just a very nice shade of red, I think. It goes well with the darker blue as well that appears on a lot of the rest of this kit. So those look good together for sure. Quick score check again. Halftime still 0-0 between West Brom and Reading. So I'm wearing the West Brom shirt today as well, and you may have noticed. I'm not a West Brom fan specifically, although maybe I'm becoming one in the last year or so. My local team here in Florida where I am is Orlando City that plays in Major League Soccer. And we had a player that played for us for a couple seasons. American striker Daryl DK, who got sold, I guess, to West Brom, and he's had a bunch of injury problems, trouble staying in the lineup because of injuries during his time there. But just before the World Cup break, he was back from an injury that he had suffered way back at the beginning of the season. And so he is playing today, or at least he was starting. I assume he's still playing. I have not looked at any subs that have happened in the game. So yeah, I'm not a West Brom fan necessarily. I am a Daryl DK fan for sure. And so this shirt that I'm wearing has his name and number on the back of it. All right, and with that, I think that we have the parts we need to build the rest of these vents. So this fits in here. And I'm okay with that because it will press back out, I think. So there again is our same style vent with gray on the outside and then the red inner detail and the transparent green inside of that. Again, there are gray parts that you could use instead of this transparent green and probably would make more sense. But I'm going with the transparent green. I may recolor that with a transparent paint. We'll see how that, again, with my testing with different paint colors, I'll decide whether I want to try that or not. This has a tiny peg that fits out through the back of this red part, so I'll be able to press that out to disassemble it. So this can go ahead and fit into here. And in fact, I'll use the toothpick to make sure they're pressed all the way in. There we go. Now this feels like it wants to press further in than that. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. I was concerned that it's going to be such a tight fit that it's going to be hard to disassemble, but it's not too bad. So I don't know if you can see yeah, you can just barely see the red detail in this one because of the structure of how the outer cover for the vent works. But it's still in there. They're being consistent. Every time we do one of these vents, it's got the little red outline detail. All right. And now we can put these together. Let's get the opposite side. So there's that bit. Nice. This is gonna be cool. All right, so what we need to do is grab the other side first. This goes, let's make sure we get it the correct orientation. So it goes this way. This is, I can already tell, going to be a very snug fit. Yeah, extremely snug fit. And then this fits on the opposite side here. Let's make sure we're not missing anything else before we sandwich this together. Yeah, this seems fine. This piece wants to fall out. Let's actually put this in this side. I think that'll work out better. lined up. There we go. Yeah, now what's interesting is when I cut these big blue parts here out of the runner, I was thinking this little indented section here seems like it would want to be a different color. I was already thinking ahead, how will I paint that and mask it? But now looking ahead, I see that there's actually two of the gold parts that fit in there. So that's even better. Save that right there because we're going to need the others in just a second. I've not forgotten to build the other copy of this. I'm just excited to see these two parts in place, and so I'm moving ahead and putting them in first. Then we'll go back and build the other one. A little bit of a mold imperfection there, but it's not going to be in an area that changes how the kit looks, so that's good. Alright, so this goes this way. I'm thinking about disassembly. It's probably going to be fine. I'm not going to press them in all the way, because then I'll be able to easily reach in. They will snap into place, it looks like. But I'm not going to press them all the way in. I'm just going to do this, so that I can easily reach in here and pull them back out. But that gives us an idea of what it's going to look like. Alright, let's make sure again that we get this in the correct orientation, which is this way. Yeah, any amount of paint at all on that peg is going to make it completely impossible to assemble. So I'll just have to remember not to paint that, or sand it back down, trim it with a hobby knife to scrape the paint off when we're doing final assembly. Either approach works just fine. Alright, we probably don't need that runner again real soon. And this one goes this way. Again, not pressing them in all the way. Yeah, all the little gold details in the various places on this thing, that's very cool. Nice work. All right, and then again, two of these. What do we need? These two little sort of hinge bits up here. And then another gray piece off of the eye runner. But first let's grab the others here off of this runner. All right, and we need 24. That's not it, that's 49. 24 should be near the middle, right? Yeah. Checking the time, we're an hour in already, which is a little surprising to me. Time has passed quickly. So maybe when I said I thought we could finish the whole rest of the build today, maybe I was wrong. We'll see. I'd like to finish the snap build today because then I'd like to move on. I'm gonna have some free time, I think, tomorrow, and I normally wouldn't stream, so the idea would be that I can disassemble this thing and start prepping it for painting. The plan once the snap build is done is that, yeah, I said during the snap build that I would not work on this kit at all off stream, so that way if you guys are following along you could see the whole build. But once we finish with the snap build, that rule goes out the window. So I reserve the right, and I will almost certainly do some work on it when I'm not streaming. And that's probably good for you as well, because you don't want to see, you know, like the boring disassembly steps and things like that. And follow along with that whole process. You want to see just the more interesting things that happen as we start working on detailing and painting and things like that. Just making sure I get the orientation of these correct, because it does matter. That looks right. But it does not want to fit just right. It's in a very awkward place here to press it together and get good leverage without breaking something. All right, there we go. So I think this is meant to fold up into here like that. This piece here is going to want to fall out continually. I'm going to press it just a little bit more. It's still not solid. Okay, but I don't want to snap it all the way in because I really don't want to have to deal with having trouble taking that out later. All right, that should be good enough. Let's see, this goes here. Once again, getting this to fit perfectly here is going to be a little bit tricky, but there it goes. All right, so those two are set for the page turn. We'll see what happens next. Zoom back out one level here, so you can see everything that's been built so far. As I do one more score check, second half has started, still no score. All right, and I was going to say we're moving on to the next thing, but actually these interesting looking gun bits, they look like, yeah, some sort of shoulder mounted cannon type things. They are actually going to attach onto those support structures that we just built. I paused for a second there because I'm looking ahead and the next runner that we need is the R runner, and I don't know that we've used that one yet. I'm trying to remember. And I don't recall using an R runner. So I'm not sure which one it is, but we'll figure it out. Right, I'm gonna move a couple of runners out of the box. I don't know if we've shown this one. It's pretty amazing, the size of these effect parts. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, I'm gonna set those off to the side. In my ongoing attempt to figure out which is the R runner. It's this other gold-plated one. So yes, we have used this one time before, for whatever part was right here. That one had 3 places to trim, and I only trimmed this one in 2 places. So something is up. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. This one must have 3 as well. Yes. And actually, to make sure this fits just right, I better make sure that I trim that one nice and flush. It's sort of an undergate, but not really. It was kind of a regular gate that was hanging over the edge just a little bit. Alright, so let's see how these fit onto here. I guess the other side is easier to do first. Yeah, probably so. Alright, so this fits here. This nice golden inset bit goes how? This way, but I can't figure out exactly where it attaches. All the way out here, yeah? Yep, that seems correct. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really digging the gold accents on this backpack unit so far. Really nice design choices, I think. Look at that, so this thing is going to have some upward articulation. Yeah, I don't want to pull on it too much because it's a bit flimsy probably until we get the rest of the structure around the outside of it, but this will bend up to give you a little bit more height away from this unit here. Yeah. I got these oriented in the correct direction, right? Yeah. All right. The press fit here along the back of this little rotating joint is extremely hard to get pressed together all the way, which is probably good because once you get it assembled, it's more likely to stay in place. And I think there's going to be something that snaps over the top of this anyway to give it a little bit more support and structure there. All right, so this fits underneath. Again, nicely holding these two halves together, while also providing a nice little bit of extra color separated detail down there. And then it looks like we get the big kind of outer sections that are going to hold this all together. So I gotta say, I do like this dark blue plastic and how it contrasts nicely with the golden accents. However, there's a lot of really interesting detail molded into these dark blue parts that really doesn't show up as well as it does on, you know, the similar white parts or really any lighter color. So that's factoring in a bit to my thought process as well as I think about painting this thing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the backpack yet. Like I said earlier, I have a decent idea for the mobile suit itself of the style and the color scheme I'm after. This backpack unit, I'm really not sure. I'm going to have to see it all completed and put onto the mobile suit before I think I decide whether I want to paint it in some sort of complementary color and style or stick with the mostly white look that I have planned for the other parts. We'll see. All right, so these go on the outside here. Other side is this one. I'm just looking ahead because I see a big gap here, and I wanted to make sure before I close this up all the way that there wasn't something that was supposed to go in there. There is not. It inserts from the front later on. Hey, thanks for the follow. It's been fairly quiet in here today. But I hope you're enjoying the build so far. I am. I haven't said it today, but I'm super impressed with this kit. And the entire build process has been a blast. And just like seeing one example after another of really good, well thought out design. The construction's been pretty good. No real issues with parts fitting or anything like that. All of the seam lines are really well hidden, at least so far. I expect that to continue. So yeah, very cool build. Looking ahead to see if I need any other parts of this runner before I set it down. And we are gonna need this one in the not too far away future, so I'm gonna grab that. I think we'd have to go back and like look at the time on all of these live stream videos, but I think that it's going to turn out that the backpack unit will end up taking significantly more time, I think, to complete than like the entire rest of the mobile suit. Mostly because it had the pre-built inner frame, which saved some time, especially like the arms I remember being very quick to build compared to what I was expecting. So, but yeah, this backpack unit has been quite impressive so far. And probably more parts than we used on the rest of the mobile suit as well, I think. All right, what else do we need before we continue on here? So this is our first instance today of using the A runner. So just a reminder for those who might have forgotten that we have 2 copies of the A runner. Actually 4 copies, because we have 2 each of the same runner printed in white and then the dark blue. So I think we get to decide whether we want this little detail bit that we're about to cut to be this white one or this dark blue one. The dark blue one obviously would match with the entire rest of the backpack. And I don't see any other white. Yeah, there is actually going to be a little bit there. I'm trying to remember what colors these different runners were. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with the white one just for variety. And of course I reserve the right to decide that I want to make it blue later. Once we see everything else that goes around it. The other obvious answer would have been to go look at the box art and see if we could find this section somewhere and decide whether it was blue or white, this part, but that would take time, and I'm having too much fun building to pause and do that. This is another one of those runners that we had multiple copies of in different colors. So we have the clear green version of this runner, and we have the gray solid version. And since these look like probably cameras for these giant guns, I figured the clear green was the way to go. Just like that. I'm pressing these in very gently as well because I'm afraid of disassembly being tricky in the future. I'll press them a little bit more because there is a place back here on the backside to get some leverage to push them back out. All right, so back to here. What we have is kind of this top section for this giant gun. It's going to sadly cover a little bit more of the golden detail than I would like. Like, I wonder if we're going to be able to see this really nice little sawtooth pattern. Maybe we will. Maybe it's separated with whatever snaps in there below it. We'll see. And then this bit goes here. So again, we have the white detail here, which doesn't match anything else on this part, at least of the backpack unit. There are other bits right up here that have a little bit of white striping type detail. So maybe the blue one would have been better there. We'll see. Probably the part of me that just wants color variety, right? Makes me choose the color that I haven't been working with as much lately. So we had so much of that dark blue, I was like, hey, let's use the white one. All right, I think the K1 runners are these gray ones and the K2s are the white ones. That is correct. So we need these two gray little detail bits here. That was not great. Just accidentally rearranged all of the nicely stacked runners that are over there in the box. I had them all in nice alphabetical order. Now they are probably not. So I'm interested in seeing how these parts fit on to what we've already built, because they have this really interesting, again, sort of to match that sawtooth pattern that I pointed out in the gold accent part. They have this pattern here, but it seems like it's on kind of the back side of the part. So I assume these are going to go on in a way that at least is partially visible. Or maybe they like fold out to the sides. That might actually be it, because they're on a little bit of a hinged, or they have a little bit of a hinged attachment point here. I wonder if that is what's happening. Yeah, I think that is what's happening. Interesting. So these snap on like this, but can then fold out to the sides, which will expose all of that nice detail, not only on these parts themselves, but that gold bit underneath that I was concerned about covering up. All right, so two of those, which are not quite complete yet. Time for a score check on my soccer match. Hey, cool. Daryl DK scored for West Brom. They're up 1-0. And my Google Assistant is wanting to talk to me now from the other corner of the room. That's cool. Alright, where does this go? Up here, right? On the front, the business end of this, we assume it's some sort of giant beam weapon. Wow, that's gonna fit extremely snugly. So much so that I'm actually gonna trim this peg just a tiny bit. So that I'll be able to disassemble it more easily in the future. Yeah, that'll work. Excuse me. It's probably time for a drink of water. Let's do that. Always stay hydrated. All right, and this was the peg that needs trimming. So I would say this is the first place in this entire build so far where I'm a little bit concerned that something feels a little bit flimsy. And it's these two moving parts here on the underside of these guns. Like, they'll probably be fine, but they're a little bit loose. That'll tighten up a bit with paint, which is good. Alright, I think we're actually, basically done with this runner now. This was the forehead jewel that we chose to use the gray one instead of the transparent green. He was the red runner, right? Yeah, they're staying consistent every time. Every time we use one of those clear green parts, there's always a red outline. Not sure what happened there. My parts trimming skills temporarily failed me. That wasn't a clean cut at all. It's fine because I can fix it with sanding later, but it was a little bit unusual. Alright. So I assume this fits in here like so. Is that correct? Yeah, that seems good. And even again, as I'm working with this, I'm concerned about the floppiness of these two parts down here. Basically, anytime I touch them, they want to jump around. Alright, the eye runner. Are you the eye runner? No. Oh, I remember. The eye runner is this gray one with the weird plastic that wants to stick to my fingers. So, again, trying not to touch these two parts that move way too much. This little fin goes up here. Maybe I should just fold these off to the side and leave them like that for now. That kind of gets them out of the way. Alright, pressing this into place without hurting your finger on the pointed edge there is going to be tricky. I'm going to press it just enough to make it stay, even though it's probably not all the way in there. Again, because I plan to disassemble this later on anyway. For whatever reason, this side worked just fine. This side over here was not wanting to fit nicely. Let's see if we can revisit this and make it a little better. There we go. That'll probably work. Okay, I think maybe that we have sort of finished these sub-assemblies. Yeah, these are going to be falling off because, again, I didn't press them in all the way because I want to be able to disassemble this more easily in the future, so I haven't snapped them all the way on. Oh, I see. We're going to build some bits that kind of fit over the outside of all of this detail here. Yeah, so that's what's next. So I'm going to set these off to the side, sort of up there. We're getting pretty close to the end of the backpack. What camera? Do you mean this camera up above that's looking down on the desk? And if that is the one you mean, it is new. I just got it for Christmas as a gift. And it is the Elgato Facecam Pro. So it's made to be a webcam for streamers to stream, you know, the view of their face, I guess, given that it's called a Facecam Pro. It's fairly expensive. I think it's also kind of hard to find right now because it's new. But yeah, I've been super happy with it so far as well. Like the quality of it's really good. It can zoom in like so I can get like even a super close up like this. Which is interesting as well. So yeah, it's Facecam Pro by Elgato, and I like it a lot so far. Hey, we finished a runner. So that can go on the floor. But again, because we got 2 copies of a lot of the runners, even though we only needed single parts, like this is the same runner, but all of this stuff is going to be extra. Because we only needed 1 of those for this blue, lighter blue part of the backpack up here. So there are going to be a lot of extra parts from this kit, and some of them are large and interesting. I'm not sure how you'd use those for like kit bashing type setups, given that they're so very specific and unusually shaped. Like you might have to cut them up a bit to reuse them. But they'll definitely go into my extra parts pile so that I can use them in the future if I need to. How long have I been building Gunpla? In this current version of building Gunpla, about 5 years, 6 years, I guess now. I used to build when I was younger. My family actually lived in South Korea, and so the kits were much easier to get. But then when I moved back to the US, and I went to college and stuff, I stopped building for a long time. Just got back into the hobby, like I said, about 6 or so years ago. So, and that's during this stint has been when I have been a lot more into you know, like painting and detailing and doing additional work on the kits besides just the snap building that I was doing before. It's not the J runner. I've lost the J runners. Here they are. See, I knew when I bumped the box a little while ago and knocked all the runners out of order that it was going to cause me a problem in the future. And it did. So I'm curious, since you asked me, do you build Gunpla? And if so, how long have you been building? All right, let's see how these fit together now. Nice. I'm trying to remember. I don't think that I have ever built. I build mostly master grade kits, and I'm trying to think if I've ever built any of the variants of a master grade Zaku, and I think that I have not. I built some of the seed Zakus, but those aren't the same, right? Not exactly the same, at least. So yeah, I should get just a regular master grade, like one of the 2.0 Zaku kits or something, and build that sometime. Thinking about Zaku's now, trying to remember if I've built any besides those seed master grade ones. There was a high grade. Let me see if I can find it actually. If I can get my computer, my mouse to work, that'd be great. Yeah, so this was a high grade Zaku that I built and painted up, actually for a contest, I think. It was a couple years ago, so it's been a while, but yeah, that's the high grade, the origin, I think, version of Char Zaku high grade. Yeah. So that one came out pretty good, but that's like one of the only high grade kits I've ever built. And I think one of the only like regular UC style Zaku kits that I've ever built. Maybe I haven't seen that tweet. So you'll have to give me some context before I can have thoughts. See, over the holiday break, or holiday time, I guess, I've been spending a lot less time on social media, which is probably good. Because I've had a lot of other things going on with in my house and with my family and stuff, so I have not paid a lot of attention. All right, so the fit of these is going to be quite interesting, to get them lined up correctly here. Because they've made these pegs quite large. And so the fit is tight and really snaps in place, as you might have heard there. You know, I think it would have been easier actually to assemble this in a different order. Where's my part separator? You can try. I'm not sure. So there's a chat bot that I'm trying out that might block you. But you can try, certainly, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, so it would have actually, I'm pretty sure, been a lot easier to assemble this thing by building it from the front first instead of putting this piece on the back. So like, yeah, let's actually do that. I'm gonna take this off. And assemble it backwards. Yeah, so it didn't like that, did it? Alright, so sorry man about the link problem. I will have to go and adjust the bot to make it less strict. But I'm not gonna do that real time here. So yeah, I thought it probably would too. It's fine. Tweet it at me and I'll take a look at it later on and let you know what I think. Yeah, so it certainly would have been easier, given how these parts line up, to put like all of these in first. That's the wrong direction. Let's fix it. So like put these white bits into this gray section here and then do this and put this on, and that'll hold it all in place. Yeah, so I got your message. I mean, so bootleg kits have always been kind of a gray area anyway, right? I can totally understand that Bandai wants to protect their copyrighted properties, right? That totally makes sense. So my thought is, like, I don't think I would buy or build a bootleg kit if it was a direct copy of something that Bandai already makes, right? So people who are taking and either reverse engineering or just basically copying the mold of existing kits, like, that's pretty shady, and I think that's bad, right? But on the other hand, you know, if it's a design that's sort of based off of a Gundam property, or like this kit, you know, technically is a new design. However, we can all see the influences, right? I'm okay with that. If it's something that, you know, a company has designed on their own, like, I'm okay with building it. I'm sure Bandai is still annoyed about some of that stuff. But that's kind of my take on it. Man, I gotta stop this bot from stopping you from sending long messages. Actually, let's just go do that, yeah? Let me pull out my keyboard here and let's just fix that. Yeah, let's get that fixed. Would be easier if I had my laptop here with me, but I don't. And my streaming computer isn't necessarily logged in correctly. Let's see. Yeah, it seemed like that's what the bot did, right? It just like killed your messages. So now I've got those turned off. Try again. Type me a long message. See what happens. Seems fitting that we're struggling with the dumb bot while also at the same time I'm struggling to fit these parts together. The fit is very interesting here just because of these very large pegs. Like it feels like I want to just like get the hobby knife out and make these a little bit larger. Okay, that message worked. I don't know if that was long enough to have triggered what the bot was flagging as too long before. Yeah, I mean, maybe they're gonna like try to crack down a little bit more, but I feel like they've had spells in the past where they've done that anyway, right? Like all of a sudden they'll try to crack down on bootlegs for a bit and then more pop up. Seems like it'd be a hard problem to really like completely eliminate. All right, there's two of those. I'm gonna continue with this strategy of taking this back apart and then building it in the opposite order, because that seems like it's working better. Yeah, like I said, they've done that in the past, right? You'll hear some news about they've tried to shut something down or tried to get some company to stop making copies of their kits, which, you know, totally within their rights. This is a part separator. I believe it's the Wave one. I've had it for a long time. It's the only one I think that I've ever used, but I really do like it a lot. You have to be careful, right? Because it's metal and it's fairly sharp. So once you get the hang of how to use it correctly without gouging your parts, it works really well. or at least it has for me. All right, let's continue with this plan of widening this gap just a little bit. Yeah, see, that fixes it almost perfectly. Yeah, I remember those images as well. The good news is it seems like whatever adjustment I just made to the chatbot is probably a good adjustment, because now I can talk to you and you can talk back to me. So that's great. Trying to be careful because the pegs that hold this in place are quite small and flimsy looking, and I'm afraid I'm going to snap them if I'm not careful. There's one, there's two. All right. And preemptively, just gonna go ahead and trim this space right here, because we know that fixes the fit problem. Yeah, that is true. No active mods besides the bot. And the reason is my channel isn't popular enough to have or have needed mods. I believe that it is based on the Forbidden Gundam. That's what I think. I don't think there's been ever any confirmation of that from anyone. And this is one of those things where I think that it's a unique enough design that it's not yeah, that's probably true. And I do, like, you know, I just do this for fun in my spare time, so consistency is always going to be an issue for me, right? But maybe this year I will become more consistent. We'll see. Always put the cap back on the knife, right? Yes, that is true. All right, I think we're done with the part separator for now. Let's see how these work. Yeah, so this is interesting. Let me zoom in so maybe you can see the instructions. I've been confused a bit because I've been looking ahead. So here's what we're building, and we're putting these onto this part here, which there's this bit right here in the instructions that like seems like it should be here, and it's not. We build it next, actually. So we build it right down here and attach it. So their 3D render has just been incorrect. Like it's been including a bit that we haven't built yet. So the instructions want me again to put this into that place first and then snap it on here, but I'm gonna do this in the opposite order again because that just seems better. Really tight fit. I mean, these instructions have been very good. I shouldn't, like, that's been one thing about the instructions that I've noticed, but in general, they've been quite good for the entire build. So I should be, to be fair, I should, you know, not pick on little nitpick things like that too much. My other favorite thing, which if you haven't seen any of the other parts of the stream of this build, there were some runners. I don't remember off the top of my head. I was going to grab one of them as an example, but I don't remember which one it was. But there have been 2 or 3 places in the runners where they forgot to label a part on the runner with like a number designation, right? So it'll be like the B runner, but there's a piece sitting between like part 3 and part 4 that never got a number when they designed the runners. They just like forgot, I guess. And so then in the instructions, they label it as like 3.5, and you're supposed to figure out that that means it's the part that's sitting, yeah, it's the part that's sitting between part 3 and part 4 on the runner. So they call it 3.5 in the instructions. It was great fun the first time that I noticed that, and I thought it was going to be the only instance of that in the instructions. Then it turned out to happen, I don't know, 2 or 3 more times. So yeah, that was pretty funny. All right, so I figured out why they want you to put that in first before snapping this on, because yeah, exactly. So you're doing math, but it makes sense, right? It took me, I don't know, a few seconds to figure out what was going on, and then I realized, oh, it's probably just this part that's unlabeled that's sitting here between these other 2 parts. Well, this helps a lot with all the dark blue that was on these bits. I was starting to think there was too much of the dark blue. Those are going to be super hard to disassemble. So yeah, the part separation on this kit is great, and all of the molded detail, even in the individual parts, is really, really good too. Overall, I'm super impressed. And like, this is one of the only third-party kits that I've built, so I don't have a huge like base of experience to compare to, but I had heard stories about, you know, like parts don't fit well and all these kind of things with third-party kits, and that has not been a problem with this one at all. I have been pretty careful while pushing these things together, and also there have been some of the parts where I'm trying, because the fit is fairly tight with a lot of these parts, I'm trying to press on something and like I'm hurting my finger because I'm pressing up against a very sharp bit. So that has been a drawback for sure. All right. Are we done? No, we're not done. We have that little bit that has been in the renders that we haven't built yet. Yeah, there hasn't been anything overly loose yet. I am concerned because I am going to be taking this thing apart and then painting it and reassembling it at some point, probably soon. And some of the parts I know that once they get paint on them, the fit's going to be like overly tight. So I'm fully expecting to have to sand down or shave down some of the pegs after painting to be able to get it to fit back together again. I have done that a couple times on this kit actually, and a lot of times actually on other kits too. So yes, as I'm assembling, I'm always thinking about the disassembly, and if I think that disassembly is going to be difficult, I do trim the peg at 45 degrees, as you've said, and I find that works pretty well. But a lot of the times I don't need it, and I can usually tell when I'm assembling if I think I'm going to need it or not. So there have been a few kits that I've worked on that when disassembling for painting, I've broken a peg, and that's always a chance to learn a lesson for my future self. That, you know, that was one of those pegs I should have trimmed. But yeah, that's why when I'm building like this, just snap building, I'm not like being super careful about even like trimming nubs or things like that. Like I try to get these cuts as flush as possible, but at the same time, I know I'm going to be going back and cleaning up all of these parts and sanding and stuff like that in the future. So all that to say, when I'm building, I'm almost always planning ahead in my own head as I'm going along. And like something like this, right? These two parts are fitting together very tightly. However, they're the same color, and I'm almost certainly not even going to disassemble these two apart from one another when I go to paint. I'll just paint this as a whole unit. I think we're finishing up the J runners with these last two parts off of each one. Yeah, it looks like we're done. I can always tell when I'm getting toward the end of a build because the pile of empty runners on the floor starts to grow. There's another one. Sometimes it's fun to paint something that's not going to be seen. I mean, like, you know, pilot figures are probably the prime example, right? Yeah, it does look like the longer messages are working fine. Thanks for testing. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of satisfying to like know that something's really detailed, you know, and painted and done up nicely, even if other people aren't going to see it, because it's your build and you know it's hidden away inside there somewhere. I was wondering why I'm starting to feel hungry, and it's because it's lunchtime. I did not realize that it's already afternoon where I am. But also, I really want to finish this backpack before we're done today, so maybe I'll keep going for a bit. It feels like we're getting close to the end. I say without having turned the page to verify that it's actually the end. This is an area where I'm a little concerned about the peg that's holding this in place potentially breaking off in the future when I go to disassemble this thing, but let's just assume it'll be fine. And I could always just glue this back into place if I needed to as well. We got a new subscriber on the YouTube channel. Thanks for that. Also, my fingers are starting to get a little sore from working with all of the small and very sharp pieces for longer than I normally do. All right. That wasn't lining up, so let's try again. That seems better. All right, what are we doing with these? Nothing yet. Because we need these bits first. Hey, that's an empty runner. To the floor it goes. The other K runner was not empty because it was one of those ones that had some of the parts that we used that didn't have a mirror, like an opposite side. After I'm done with this snap build, I'll go back and cut off all the remaining extra parts, of which I think there will be a lot, and I'll post a photo somewhere on Twitter or something showing the pile of extra parts, just in case you're curious. I do think it'll be quite large. Alright, now we can build these things, right? I think so. Interesting, so it's probably better to start with this side. Those go like that. And then this goes like this. Alright, so this little seam here is not wanting to push all the way together, and in the interest of making it easier to disassemble in the future, I'm going to just leave it like that. And then I'll press it together for real when I assemble this thing for the final time. Just to avoid putting a little bit of extra stress on that peg, which is quite small. Yeah, this peg up here is really tiny, actually. So we'll just get it mostly pressed together and then leave the rest. One more. All right. I have no idea what these things are. They're weird little claws. Obviously, but not sure what they're for. You know what, I'll get these other two parts that we need while we're here on this runner anyway. Yeah, this is going to be impossible to trim with nippers. Let's get the knife. Even with a knife, it's a little tricky, right? Just because it's sitting here in between those two bits there. Also would help if I had an actual sharp blade on my knife. Obviously this blade needs to be changed. While I have the knife out, let's do the other one. So if you just score this little bit right here, then you can bend this back and then slice it off. Oh no, there's another one that has a nub like that. This one might be easier to get to. It is slightly. Maybe I can get the nippers in there. Yeah, okay. Alright, so does the side matter? Probably not, given that this thing is symmetrical so far. Put that on that side, we'll put this on the opposite side. Alright, so this one goes on the side with so this one goes on the side with without this extra little bit sticking out. Is this going to be, seems like it's going to be another one of those very tight snaps. No. If you put it on the correct side, it fits fine. Huh. There we go. Interesting. Okay. I never did check the final score of the soccer match that I cared about. And it's not up on my phone anymore. It's fine. I'll check it later. So back to our A runners, we can choose between white and dark blue. And given that we're building this backpack bit, I'm going to choose the dark blue. Yeah. I think this is the correct runner, right? 13. So the runners in the box are starting to get extremely jumbled up and out of order. That part does not look at all like the render in the instructions. Not even close. Not sure what's up with that song, but it sounded way too happy. It'll be interesting to see how this part fits because, like I just said, it doesn't look like what the instructions are showing. All right, let's go. So this one, I assume, yeah, it just goes here. So yeah, the fit is fine. They just didn't render it well in the instructions. They kind of rendered this back fin part of it, but not the little cross piece that's going perpendicular to the fin. All right, let's move these out of the way. And this thing should slide on like so. And this one goes on the back side. Yep. Okay, so two of these claw-like things, and they both just attach on here. I'm starting to not know where to grab this piece because it's got so many pointy bits, and also parts of it, like it's not flimsy, but parts of it I'm being careful not to press on it too much because they seem like they will potentially break. So just something to keep in mind. Arctic Gazer, hello. How are you? I'm doing well, however, my fingers are getting tired from having worked with a bunch of little pointy parts for the last little while. Yeah, same to you. Things have been weird in my world for the last like 2 weeks because, you know, family's been on break from school and other stuff. So it's kind of good that things are getting back to normal, I think. Even though it's a little sad that the holidays are over. All right, I think that we're finally assembling the actual final bits here of the backpack. So these two, I don't know if we're calling them wing units, go on the sides of this. I need like the widest camera angle possible here to show the whole thing, right? All right, so those go there. And then this whole thing fits onto the back of the mobile suit. We're not calling it a Gundam because it's not, right? Just like so. This seems maybe tricky. We'll see. Yep, I was right. It's tricky. Let's do it this way instead. Yeah, we're gonna assemble this one side at a time, almost certainly. So there's these two bits that come out from the back of the, like this initial backpack unit that we put on the mobile suit. Those two rectangular bits just fit right into there. However, actually making that happen is going to be tricky. So let's watch me fail live. That side worked okay. Yeah, the other thing is they're articulated, right? So they want to bend as you try to line them up. So part of me wants to like put it on at an angle and then tilt it forward, but that's not going to work because of the articulation that's built into those joints there. So really it's going to have to be just pressed straight on. That looks like it started working. Yeah. All right, here we go. Now that we've got them lined up, we can just do this. Yeah, I have no idea how to show this to you guys on camera. It's so big. Let's try this camera. All right, it's gonna be very back heavy. It came with a stand. We haven't built the stand. So getting it to stand up without falling over is tricky. But yeah, there we are. It is quite good. It still has no hands. The instructions haven't told us to build hands yet. Here's the back. Right, maybe I can show it to this camera as well. So yeah, it's pretty good. This is a weird little point of articulation here. This thing tilts all the way up. Like you could, I'm sure, bring this thing up over the back like this. And then it's certainly going to be so back heavy that it's impossible to get it to stand up. So posing will be fun once it's on a stand, but for now is going to definitely be tricky. There it is from the front. So yeah, that was a very fun build. And let's see if we can, nope. I thought I could get it to sit like that here. We'll get the magical acrylic cube. Prop it like that. It's a little bit higher than the camera angle works with, but it's fine. Yeah, so all that's left, and I'm not going to build them now because I'm hungry and I want to go eat lunch, are the two sort of glaive style weapons that it has. And I believe that's it. I don't think it has any kind of like beam rifle type weapon or anything like that. So I don't know yet if I'll build those, if I'll wait and build those on stream the next time I stream. I probably will, because I promised you guys I'd build the whole thing on stream. Yeah, and then the next stream after that, we will, I will have started disassembling this and we'll start working on some ideas for painting for it as well. Yeah, in the meantime, between now and then, I will look at this from all angles and just stare at it over and over and decide whether my idea for painting is going to work and whether I'm happy with that or not. So yeah, that's it. For those of you guys who have hung on for the entire stream, thanks. I had fun. This is, I think, maybe the longest I've ever streamed in one session, because I really wanted to, like I said, finish that backpack unit today. So yeah, hope you have a good one. Hope you're having a good new year so far. and I will see you again next time. Thanks a lot.